All right, there we go. Now we're recording. So 5th of July here, and proof I've got all my fingers, so we made it through. That was a good thing. So hopefully all of you had a great time last night, whatever you were doing. We certainly did our share of filling up the sky with lights. So, all right, well, today we'll just go ahead and start. I know it's probably going to be a light day, a lot of people on vacation right now, and all that good stuff. So if you've got something you're stuck on, go ahead and unmute and come out, and let's get you put on track. So anyway, where we're at here, most people, I think everybody is done with their big ideas at this point. So I want to kind of describe the process here of what we're doing, with the apprentice members. And I kind of come up with an action plan to fast track. And it's going from beginning to end and then filling in the middle. And I think a lot of people are really enjoying that process a lot more because it comes, it's a little more clear, what you're doing and how you're doing it. But the object behind it is to put the big idea up front so you know the whole focus of the campaign, to really dial it in, and then skipping right to the end. And you hop right to the end and you put your offer in. Now, I've created new worksheets for this too to streamline it and make it a lot simpler. And I'm going to put those up for everybody. The apprentices are kind of leading the pack with this, developing this new approach to fast track and get a campaign up and running really quickly. And it looks to me like that's really the way to go. It's working pretty well. So anyway, you put the big idea in, then you put the ending on your offer. And basically, when you know where you're starting and you know where you're finishing, it really solidifies what goes in the middle. Because after you put the beginning and the end, then you come back to the beginning and you say, okay, for us to go from here to there, what's the first step? And that's what I like to do as the giveaway. Because everybody has to have some sort of a hook and offer when you create your ad. The focus, the focus is going to be on your big idea, but you've got to have some sort of a hook. Some people get stuck, when they trying to go from the big idea to the hook and the ad. And really, it's an offer to entice someone. Frank Kern says it's an ethical bribe. So however you want to position it, however you want to think about it, that really is what it's all about. It's about giving them something to get something from them. And really what you're trying to get from them is you're trying to get them to consume your message, trying to get them to consume your marketing message. So that's really that first thing that you need to give away. And a lot of times it is a giveaway. Sometimes it's a very low cost offer. There's the whole thing of the Tripwire offer. For those of you that don't know what that is, it's a low cost first sale. So maybe you've got some sort of a blueprint and you're going to sell them access to that blueprint for, $3 or $1 or $7 or whatever it is. And basically at that point, you've converted them to a customer. And it's a lot easier to take a customer and upsell them to other products than it is to get that first sale. Sometimes the higher you go for the first sale, the more resistance you have. Because remember, if they have not bought from you, there's no trust factor there. As soon as somebody buys something from you, it dynamically changes the relationship. You're no longer a stranger, you're a vendor. So for a vendor to sell another product to a customer, it's a whole different experience. It's much easier. That's why in supermarkets, they put the add-on sales at the counter. They already know you're going to check out. You're going to pull your wallet out and you're going to give them some money. So it's much easier for them to sell add-on items at that point because the relationship's changed. You know, you're no longer just browsing through the store. You are a customer. You've got stuff in your shopping basket. You know, your intent is to check out, take that stuff home with you. So it's the same thing here. It's the same principle, the same concept. So that first thing, again, what we're striving for is that first hook of what we can give them. And, you know, it should be something to make something to get them closer to their desired outcome. That's the best thing to give them. And there's a really super great example of this. It doesn't apply to, I don't think, anybody here, but it's a great example of how to do something. And it was from the dating industry, and it was Eben Pagan's. His sequence was phenomenal. The guy sold $20 million worth of dating advice using the sequence, and it was absolutely brilliant. So what he did, he looked at the customer's timeline, and he said, okay, where are these guys at? They're completely useless with women, right? They can't get a date to save their life. They don't even, they're scared to talk to women. So at their state, it's hopeless. You know, they have absolutely no chance of getting what they want and their desired outcome, which, you know, depending on the avatar, it might be marriage and a lifelong partner. And, you know, some avatars, it might just be sex. Whatever it is, you know, you've got to address that. But it's the same process to get from here to there, whatever it is on the other end. For Eben, it was the same thing. He identified the first step in that process as being able to talk to women. It's that being able to strike up a conversation, and he brought it across. He said, if you can't do this, nothing else is possible. You know, you're not going to go from where you are, not being able to talk to women, to a date. It's not going to happen. So he said, this is the first step. He said, I know where you want to go. I'm going to help you get there, and here's the first step. I'm giving it to you for free. And he didn't even get them to opt in for that. He just literally gave it absolutely no strings attached. As soon as they consumed that product, you know, that was a free product. He was giving it to them. So as soon as they consumed that, it gave them the skill to be able to talk to women. Now they're able to strike up conversations in bars or, you know, wherever they are, community centers, you know, wherever they're hanging out. They could actually effectively approach a woman and strike up a conversation. So now they're on cloud 9, but they're really just the first step. But they're still, they've got that momentum now. So he comes back and he says, okay, and even in the production of that first piece, he was leading to the second piece. He said, as soon as you acquire this skill, the next thing is going to be, you know, moving toward a date. You know, how to get them to actually go on a date. And I believe he gave them that one for free too, and absolutely no strings attached. They didn't even have to opt in. But where he got them to opt in was his KISS test. And he said, now on the date, here's the most important thing at the end of the date, to know whether or not she's ready to be kissed. And, you know, for guys, you know, in the dating process, that's a really crucial point. You know, he realized that's a critical point in their success of getting their desired outcome, their goal. And that's where they kind of freak out the most. That's like the highest level of intensity for them, is how do you know? He also understood that by how they were feeling and their experience, that they were stuck in this fear of rejection. So if they go in for this kiss and the girl's not ready and they get rejected, that's going to be tragic. So he addressed that. He said, I'm going to show you how to know if a woman's ready to be kissed and avoid that going in for the kiss and being rejected. He said, if you do this, you're going to know, and I'm going to give you a way a graceful way out if she's not, that will avoid rejection and making you look foolish. So at that point, they're just foaming at the mouth to get this, and that's where he asks for the opt-in. So again, what he's doing here, he's taking you through a marketing process where he's getting you to consume his marketing message. He's building your demand and desire for the ultimate product. And he knew he was selling his product for a lot of money. You know, this was like a $2,000 course. So he's taken him a long way down the journey for free before he even makes his offer. But by the time, I guarantee you this, by the time he makes the offer, they want it so bad, it doesn't matter how much it's going to cost. They're going to buy it. Even if they don't have the money, they're going to find the money. So that's what can happen when you figure out and you understand the real needs and the real desires of your avatar. And you create a process for them. So it's really important to understand them. The big idea is, you know, again, on the front end, and that big idea is tapped in to your avatar. It doesn't come from you. Big ideas always come out of the market. They always come out of your prospects. So keep that in mind. If you don't think it's solid, you know, go back and rethink it, but don't get caught in the loop of you know, I have to keep redoing this thing, because you're going to have a lot of big ideas as you go through. You know, this is just the first one. So if it's not perfect, it's perfectly fine. So keep that in mind. So anyway, that's going to be our next step after the offer, is setting up that first trigger, that first giveaway. Some people call it a lead magnet. It's called a lot of, you know, different things, but that's really it. That's going to be our next logical step for all of this stuff. So that's what we're getting ready for. Hopefully I don't go blurry here. I'm just reaching back to try and turn our music down here in the background. It's getting a little distracting there. So all right, almost there. Sorry about that, guys. I'm just trying to get this tablet figured out here. All right, I think we got it under control. So anyway, that's the process. That's you know, from end to end, and then once you get your big idea on the front, and you get your lead-in offer, you know, your lead magnet or whatever you want to call it, that's going to take them in to get them to consume the next piece. Now, some of you are going to have like a one-step process here. You're going to give them an opt-in that might be a video, might be a webinar, and you're going to take them through the sequence in one shot and make the offer. And that's perfectly fine. But the bigger the offer is, the more you've got to build the demand and desire. So you may come up with the fact that you need multiple steps in the series. You know, you've probably heard or seen the product launch formula, where they've got 4 videos and they spread it out over 4 weeks in some cases, where they're building demand and desire over a 4-week process. And typically with those, it's a high-end sale, it's a high-end offer. And they know they've got to build enough demand and desire, they've got to build enough value before they make the offer, or they'll fail. So that's something you need to consider, is what is yours going to be? You know, is it going to be a high-end offer, or is it going to be more of a Tripwire type of offer? So hopefully that makes sense. You guys get the difference between a high-end offer and a Tripwire. Tripwire is, it's just that beginning offer. Sometimes people will do a $1 trial. Sometimes people will do a $7 small piece. you can splinter it off. If you've got a whole system, a whole sequence, you could splinter off pieces and sell it by the part. And you could do a Tripwire offer that way. So anyway, that's kind of the sequence. That's where we are in the process with our apprentice members. So anybody got any questions, go ahead and unmute and come on out and tell me where you're at, what you're stuck on.
Hey, boss.
Yeah, go ahead, Gregory.
So we're getting close to my July 18th tech conference, and I was just wondering if the 30-second or 60-second video from Internet Dominators, where we stand on that. Over.
Yeah, I've got that. It's on my production list here. I'm going to see if I can get that knocked out for you this week.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Then Michelle, you and I will be. Oh, and also remember I sent you the text of the cards. I know it's not very fancy, but it's just right to the point. These people they don't like beating around the bush. So if you check my text, if there's any corrections or any enhancements. If not, we can go with that, and then we'll go to the next step with Revelio. All right.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you.
All right, Travis, do you have something there?
I do. How you doing, John?
Good. Awesome. How's it going?
Good. My new display seems to have taken over my webcam. I can't figure out how to switch it back, but I guess I'll sit super low in the frame here.
That's okay. As long as we can hear you, we can get it done.
Yeah, so I'm curious how you would handle this. I got an interesting issue that keeps popping up where users are trying to opt in for a page, and once they submit the opt-in, the gear keeps spinning forever. So I've gone through every single server error I have. I don't have any server errors any longer. It seems to be something where Optimized Press is not communicating via API effectively with Infusionsoft, and I'm getting an error, and it's costing me some percentage of opt-ins. And I can't replicate it, so I can't necessarily diagnose it and fix it. So being that I have an existing landing page template and everything is already kind of set up, where would you take that? Would you just take my existing landing page and try to create a lead pages template? Or what would be what would be my best bet as far as just eradicating any existing issues that might exist from caching or JavaScript minification or any of the stuff that's intended to make my site in general fast, but could be crashing this integration somehow? What would you do if you were me?
Gotcha. Okay, so on the page, a lot of people have stuff on their web pages they're not even aware of, like in the codes and stuff. Sometimes they're referencing external sources for information. Like, for instance, sometimes people will use Google Fonts. And when you use a Google font, if Google has some sort of a bottleneck or something, it's taking time to load that font, so things will spin and the page won't completely load. Sometimes pieces of the page will load.
I've even noticed that it's trying to load a Google font over HTTP.
Yes.
Which is actually detracting from the overall security of the page, which I found to be.
Yeah, so the simpler that you can get your code of your overall page and the less things that you're referencing from remote, you remove those possibilities of bottlenecks like that. If you've got any kind of ad servers are horrible for this. They can sit there and spin, and depending on how the page is coded with the HTML, it could have these load tags, so it's loading things before other things on the page load. So like specifically, for your opt-in box and your opt-in process, if something else is like getting in the way of that loading, that could cause that problem. And keep this in mind too, different parts of the country and different parts of the world will load differently. Mm-hmm. Like Google fonts it's not like the Google font that you're looking for is on one server. They've got those spread out all over the world. So it's supposed to load from the fastest spot depending on where you are. But sometimes there's issues with that. So that's really kind of the, you know, the stuff right off the top I can tell you that might cause that. So if you can eliminate anything out of the ordinary, anything fancy, and if you're using, did you say you were using Optimized Press?
Yeah, I use Optimized Press, which should directly integrate with Infusionsoft. So basically, on my little form, I choose a drop-down menu that populates all of my Infusionsoft forms, and that's essentially the API call that it sends over. And you know, I'm aware of the fact that you know, there's, and anytime you're dealing with WordPress and you have plugins, and I've done a ton of steps to simplify the site, and my page speed is very good, but there's just something here that's causing a conflict. So the kind of the question is, where do you go from here? Do you try to convert the entire page to HTML? Do you get rid of the integration entirely and try to make Infusionsoft like embedded, like native forms look good, or do you just try to recreate your landing page with lead pages? And the only problem that I have is that, you know, my YouTube associated site will only allow me to direct my traffic back to howtofightnow.com. I wouldn't be able to send it to, you know, an offsite. So I don't even know how lead pages works. But at the end of the day, I've grappled with this product or with this problem now for months, and it's costing me opt-ins. And I have, you know, and I've never had an opt-in page perform so low. The Facebook campaign is killing it. I'm making 7-to-1 on this Facebook campaign, but I'm only getting 5% of opt-ins. And as you know, you can optimize the hell out of something and get up to 25%, but usually my stuff floats around 15. So I don't even know what percentage of people are getting an error, but that seems like a low opt-in.
So you said you weren't able to replicate the error?
I am not, but when I contacted Infusionsoft yesterday, that representative was able to replicate the error. One of my developers was, and I've gotten a number of emails over the course of time. It's like, hey man, I'm trying to sign up for your training here, but this gear keeps on spinning.
Okay,
so,
yeah, then you definitely have an issue there. What I would do in lead pages, just to answer your question, if you want to try lead pages, all you have to do with lead pages is export the HTML and put that on your domain. So it doesn't have to be on a lead pages site. It could be on your domain. That's not a problem.
Okay.
So all you do when you go to publish it, just say publish external HTML. It'll give you an HTML file, and you just upload that to your server.
Got it.
So that's real easy if you want to test that. If you've got lead pages, that might be a quick solution for you.
I don't, but that's the thing. If I'm basically starting over from scratch, I kind of wanted to see, like, if you were facing this issue, where would you start over to? You know, what would your output be?
Sure. The first thing I would do is I would take the page that you're dealing with, and since it's in WordPress, you have a ton of different potentials there. You might have plugins. I would try, you know, removing, I think Ted said in the chat, go ahead and remove each plugin one at a time and see if one of them is causing a conflict.
Yeah.
That's one thing you can do. The other thing I would do is I would probably create a basic, simple page with nothing more than the opt-in on and a text headline. You know, your call to action without anything fancy on the page. Forget the backgrounds, forget the, you know, the nav bars. I might, at most, I might put the links at the bottom to your privacy policies and stuff.
Right.
But if that doesn't work, the next thing I would try is just to create a basic HTML page outside of WordPress.
Yeah, so maybe I can convert my existing page to just HTML and keep the backgrounds and stuff.
Yeah.
Got it.
I would be willing to bet it's some kind of a conflict in WordPress because, you know, you've got Optimized Press in there. You who knows how many different plugins you've got.
The only reason I don't think that's right is because that usually will show up on a server log, a server error. It would, you know, it would say, hey, we've got a conflict here, or try to access this, and you know, you would see that in an error. So
yeah, but your error sounds like it's really coming from Infusionsoft because it's you're spinning. That's Infusionsoft.
Correct.
So you've got something that between Infusionsoft and your WordPress site, something is glitching there. So it wouldn't show up necessarily in your error logs in WordPress.
Right.
Not a WordPress error.
Correct.
As far as
Correct.
WordPress is concerned, it's loaded the thing, it's loaded the widget, all is good.
Yeah, it's waiting to hear back. It's waiting to get that message over to Infusionsoft and go to the next step.
Yeah. So your Infusionsoft widget is having a conflict with something on that page.
Right.
So I don't know, what it is or what it could be, but that's the first thing, is just to start eliminating things.
Right.
Start eliminating the issues, and WordPress is loaded with them.
Yeah.
Who knows what else is on that page that you don't even know about or aware of. And the other thing too, plugins get updated all the time. WordPress gets updated. I've seen tons of times where, you'll get a minor WordPress update. Sometimes your server will automatically update WordPress for you, and then it causes a conflict with a module, and, like all hell breaks loose, and
Yep.
who knows where it begins and where it ends.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
So yeah, that's one of the reasons I really love this whole Kartra program. Everything is integrated in. It's it's a one-shot deal, and everything works together.
Yeah.
And but I know WordPress is that's a lot of people's go-to. And Infusionsoft, I totally get the fact that you're entrenched in that, and that's kind of hard to let go of.
Yeah.
And so I would say, take the Infusionsoft widget and just put it on a basic HTML page, and that's going to be, cheap, easy, and you'll know right away if your rates go up right away, you'll know you got it.
Yeah.
Later.
True. All right. Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
I'd give that a shot. And another thing too, you might have a lot of different things connecting to that page. So rather than, putting up on a new page and then trying to do all the reconnects, just forward that page to the new page.
Yeah, good call.
That way, because who knows, you might have other people linking to it you don't even know about.
Yeah, true. Yep, good call.
So make sure you do a redirect, so any traffic going to that page now goes to the new one.
Got it. Good call. Thanks, John.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Anybody else? I know it's right after the holiday here. You guys are probably roughed up a bit.
Okay, I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Well, I still have my 3,000 plus business cards, and my niece is struggling with this job that she has. And my idea is that I want to really focus on my trading, and I'm willing to split whatever money she makes from forwarding those cards to introducing internet denominators. So the question is that if someone got an email, let's say from Monica Santana, and say Gregory Santana referred me to you, or from Gregory Santana, or I would just say, hey guys, this is Greg Santana as a text, and then but Monica's name shows at the bottom. I mean, what I'm trying to do, and I still have GregorySantana.com. So I'm trying to do is I'm saying, give her the work and split some of the money.
Sure. What I would do in that case, and this is actually an internet marketing trick that works really well. And there's a lot of guys that run in the internet marketing space, and what they've found is when they communicate out to people, they don't get much response. But when a female communicates out on their behalf, the response goes through the roof. And so it might actually be in your best interest to have her do that and have it come from her. And, she could introduce herself. What was her name?
Monica Santana.
Monica. She could say, hey, I'm Monica. I'm here working on behalf of Gregory, and I'm following up. he has passed me your business card, which he got, at an event or somewhere here recently. And, I'm following up. I'm putting you in the database so we can send you some messages. If that's not acceptable to you, please let me know and I'll take you out. And if it is, please, send me an email and let me know what your interests are so we can see how we can best serve you. That would be a really good introduction for her.
I like that. You're recording this, so I'll be able to
Yeah.
play that back. That's pretty cool because my trading is starting to heat up, and I really need to let go of these possible leads, and at the same time help her out. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you could also have her list off some of the things that you could help them with, like a website review.
Well, the number one driver is you.
Yeah. So you could have the website review. You could have, the privacy policies. Maybe they're interested in, how to be compliant, all that kind of stuff. And then you can just hook them up with, all of your different affiliate vendors and make money that way.
The two main points is the FTC Guardian.
Yeah.
Then there's you, and the way I simplified it, and I don't know if it works yet, but people hear the word web evaluation, they still seem to be a little bit dazed about it. So I was thinking of saying it, optimizing your SEO. Does that sound more clarity to? I know that what you do.
What really has been grabbing people for me is talking about optimizing conversion on your website. Because a lot of people think they have a bunch of traffic to their website when they may or may not really. But you can say, with your existing customer or with your existing traffic, without spending any more money on new traffic, if you could convert more of your existing traffic, you could make a lot more money without spending any more. And we can do a free website evaluation for you to determine if your website is optimized for conversion or if we might be able to help you accomplish that.
Oh, all right. This is starting to gel. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not a freight train.
Yeah, because see, that's something they can totally understand, and that's something that they would want. That would be highly desirable. If you just said, a free website evaluation, you're not really tying it to any outcome. They don't see the value in it. They're like, yeah, what's that going to do for me? But if you put it that way, then, when you say, without spending any more money on traffic, website conversion optimization can help you create more conversion and make more money on the traffic you already have. That's a good way to position it. Because then it also opens up a curiosity factor with them, and they're like, ooh, I wonder what I could do. What could these guys help me with? And that can really open the door for you. But back just for a second, back to the whole thing of, and this is for everyone here. If you're a male and your audience is mostly male, you will find, I guarantee you, I've seen this over and over and over, if you have a female communicating on your behalf, you will get much more response. It's guaranteed. I think it's for obvious reasons, but whatever it is, it's true. It's true to fact.
Until something else shows up, we only got each other.
So and I'll just give you an example of how this actually works for some of the people that are doing webinars. When you have a webinar and you're sending out reminders, and let's say you've got a reminder that's a couple days ahead, and then you've got a reminder on the same day. If that comes from you, you get very few responses. They just take it as a reminder. Okay, yeah, I got it. I'll be there. But they do not reply to it. When you have a female, and I know that I don't mean this to be sexist or anything. It's just fact. When a female sends that same exact email, she will get a response from the men. They'll say, hey, thank you, honey, for reminding me, I'll be there. It's amazing. And then the show up rates go way up. More people will show up. So if you're, like a one-man show, I have seen guys in the internet marketing space that actually create a woman. They write the emails. It's them. They just sign it as a woman. So it's marketing. It's just marketing. Frank Kern has talked about this since Mass Control, of creating characters, creating a character that your audience associates with and communicates with better than they do with you. And remember, in the beginning of this, I used Evan Pagan as a perfect example of the dating thing. He created a fictional character because he realized that he would not get respect in the dating world with his name. His name was Eben. So what he did, he created a new name. For any of you that are not familiar with this, he actually created a character called David D'Angelo. David D'Angelo was the fictional character that sold the dating advice.
Ah!
And that's the same person. Eben Pagan is David D'Angelo. Frank Kern did the same thing when he sold dog training. He had a different fictional character that really didn't exist, but they had a name, and they sold, dog training materials. So that's just part of marketing. People do it all the time. They create a character, they create a logo. The logo sometimes comes to life, like Starkist Tuna. Who's the character? It's Charlie. That's an obvious one. It's obviously a fictional character, but that's just an example of a character that's created to relate to the audience. So, and that's advertising. So what you're doing, all of you, what you're doing is you're advertising. So, whatever it takes to effectively communicate with your audience, maybe you're not the perfect representation of your business. That's perfectly fine. Your business can still thrive. You just have to create a character that your community associates with, and that's who's going to be the face of the company, even if it's not a real person. Or you could create a different person. Like actors and actresses do this all the time. They have a stage name because their name isn't in alignment with their character. So they create, different name, like Marilyn Monroe. That's a perfect example. That name is sexy. She was a sexy character. Her original name didn't fit. So she created a new one. So nothing wrong with it. It's absolutely acceptable. There's no, it's not necessarily deceitful. It's advertising. So that's just something, in your advertising tool bag, that's a tool in there that sometimes you need it, sometimes you don't. If you don't need it, leave it in the bag, but if it will help you, then take it out of the bag and put it to work. These are all little things that, whatever you happen to need for your particular business. If you're already a woman, you don't need that tool. It's already working for you. You'll probably find if your audience is male, you get a lot better response than you would if you were a male.
And then Monica has the extra step because she has Santana as the last name, and it's like, oh, Carlos.
Yeah.
I get thrown at me.
Exactly. So that's something, keep in mind. It may help you, may not, but I think in your case, Gregory, for sure, I think she will get a lot more response than you would, because I think the majority of your audience is probably male.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to work out a business plan and talk with her and lay this out, and then I'll come back to you. Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. Perfect. All right. Anybody else?
Hey, John, I got something for you.
Sure.
So I got an interesting email from Infusionsoft the other day that said, in 30 days, I have been confirmed to have mailed out to 306 spam traps, which I guess are things that go and scrape the internet and scrape landing pages and see what your mailing practices are. I have basically removed double opt-in from my process. I mean, I'll try to get people to confirm their email address. I'll try to get them to click on stuff in my indoctrination sequence. But, you know, if they don't, I usually continue to email them for 6 months. And, you know, if they haven't clicked on anything in 6 months, I get rid of them. So being that I have gotten this complaint or this, you know, Infusionsoft has brought up this issue, I don't want my deliverability to go down. I certainly don't want to deal with them about it. What is the typical best practice? I know that the big internet marketers aren't using double opt-in anymore. They'll try, as I do. But how long would you mail somebody without having them click anything? Like, would you send them the initial campaign? You know, what would you send them before saying, "All right, dude, you go"?
Well, this is a problem I have heard. Like I said, I have not used Infusionsoft for several years, but I know when I did use it, and from what I'm still hearing about it, this is an inherent problem with Infusionsoft, is they're not mailing experts, you know, which they should be because they're an email service, but they're not email experts. And that right there is a problem. So they're sending mail on your behalf on their server. They're also sending mail on 10,000 other people just like you on their behalf on their server. So if they're not blocking spam traps automatically, that's a problem. Because if you take what you're doing and, you know, maybe you're making some mistakes, you know, just inherently like we all do when you're doing email marketing, and you multiply that by 10,000, guess what? Every one of those other ones is going to affect your deliverability. So that's something you want to think about. It's not just you, it's everyone else is affecting your deliverability. So that's not good. That's not good at all.
Though you know, I do use We Deliver, which actually will bypass Infusionsoft servers and allows me to use Infusionsoft to send my mail through Amazon's mail servers, which are actually much more tightly monitored, at least by virtue of my tests, or at least what I've seen in my tests.
Yeah,
I get a much higher deliverability rate. But I'm still trying to iron out what my best practices should be. Because, you know, if you're doing a Facebook campaign, you're not going to send people to an email confirmation page before you give them their first piece of content. You got to send them to the first piece of content. And, of course, you want to continue to try to convert them afterwards. So you basically have to email them at least the first campaign. So the question is, you know, if they don't click on anything in that first campaign, do I bother sending them into the next segmentation campaign?
Yes, you do.
Really?
Yeah, you do, because just because they weren't interested in the first one doesn't mean they're not interested in something.
But that's what they signed up for. They're not interested in that.
Well, you will also get a lot of people that will sign up and they'll use an email address that they don't check.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's just part of life in this business.
Yeah.
What I would do, though, for sure, I wouldn't do, I mean, you can go the double opt-in route. You'll get a lot less people that will do it. So you'll suffer on the front end. Like you said, when people opt in, yeah, they're interested, and they're interested right then. So the fact that they have to go back to their email, you're really just becoming a pain in the ass for them. What I would do, like when someone opts in for something, I send them to a thank you page that delivers the goods. So they don't even have to go back to their email address.
Yep.
And here's the reason why. A lot of people will put in a bogus email address. Perfectly fine. I don't want to eliminate them from actually getting what they wanted, because that might turn into a sale.
Right.
So your numbers will go up, you know, radically. Like I was talking about Eben Pagan's sequence for the dating market. He gave away his first 2 or 3 items without even getting them to opt in, because he knew the market so well. He knew they were going to consume it, want the next one and the next one. And then like on the third one, he actually got you to opt in. But by that point, you were so freaking hooked. There was no way you were going to put in a bogus email address because you wanted that thing so bad you could taste it.
Okay, so you're saying he basically just retargeted them. He just retargeted them. He didn't even try to get them to opt in?
No, he wasn't. Back then, there wasn't even retargeting around.
Oh.
This example I'm giving is from like 15 years ago.
Okay.
He didn't even retarget them. He didn't ask them to opt in. He just sent them from the ad right to the information.
Okay.
He just flat gave it to them. And basically, he got them to consume his first piece of his marketing message, and then he led them to the next one. You know, at the end of that, they could click to get to the next one, or they could bookmark it or whatever. And it wasn't until like the third one where he actually got them to opt in.
Okay.
And he sold like $20 million a year worth of dating advice following that formula, that pattern.
God.
Crazy. Yeah. I mean, it's a big market. You know, that's a way bigger market than what you're dealing with. But still, the fact that it worked so well is really something to pay attention to.
Right.
So for me, like if I always usually try and get people to opt in as quickly as possible, most of the time on the first round. But to do that, you've got to really give them value. They've got to really want it. And then when they do opt in, you know, most people will deliver the free thing in an email. I do that, but I also send them to a thank you page that's got access to it right there immediately. So they don't have to go back to their email. Let's say maybe they're on their phone. Maybe they don't have their email on the phone for whatever reason. You know, that's kind of a stretch at this day and age, but it's still possible.
I mean, every single time you make somebody go to a thing and, you know, that sometimes the email's not even there. It's in their spam folder or some shit. You know, now you just lost your chance to convert them. So I'm totally with you. And that's exactly how I have it set up. But I'm almost wondering now if you take the Facebook ad and you don't even ask them to opt in. I mean, 95% of people more now would see my initial offer, and then I could potentially just retarget them for video 2 and video 3 and then the offer.
You know, at this point, and especially in your case, that's a great idea to send them to your first initial video and don't make them opt in for it.
Just don't even make them opt in. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, just send them to that video and just provide so much value, but leave it with a cliffhanger.
So the question becomes, do you try to get the opt-in at the end of that, or do you try to just go for the sale? Like, hey.
No, I would go for the opt-in. You want to go for the opt-in before the sale.
Okay.
Always get them on the list. If you know they're interested enough after the first step, you want to definitely get them on the list.
Yeah.
Because I don't care, you know, how far along you are, you're always going to have a percentage that are not ready to buy. They're not ready to buy right now.
Right.
They will buy, but they're not going to buy it right now.
Right.
So if they're not on your list, you're really missing out.
Well, you can retarget them, though, if they came from a Facebook ad. That's obviously going to be more expensive than the freeness of...
Yeah, you want them on the list, though.
Yeah.
If they're that deep, they're that entrenched, you really want them on the list.
Right.
That's your
goal. So I have one video that you know, one opt-in page, I want to say converted at 17 or 18% from my YouTube video. The best one was just a traditional landing page where I kind of framed the launch. I said, hey, welcome to the Head Movement Training Program. Video 1, I'm going to teach you this. Video 2, I'm going to teach you this. Video 3, I'm going to teach you this. Fill out the form, click the button, and I'll send you the stuff. That one converted at 22%, I want to say. And then I had one where I just go right into the content, and after maybe 2 or 3 minutes and giving them some content, I say, hey, now I just got to teach you how to counterpunch off of the head movement, but you got to sign up for that. Just fill out the form under this page and click the button. That one converted at 17, 18%, so it didn't convert as well. But again, I haven't tried it on this particular audience. It seems like that might be appropriate as opposed to giving them the entire, you know, because all my content pieces end up being like 7 or 8 minutes. You know, it's too long to be expecting a lot at the end of it. But again, you know, the existing, it's crazy how shitty I'm doing as far as opt-ins, but how well the campaign itself is converting. You know.
Yeah,
So
when you've got good stuff and you're hitting the right audience, it should convert like that. So you just got to figure out, where your bottleneck is.
yeah,
Getting them to opt in. Maybe you don't make them opt in right up front. Maybe give them a short video, or take one of your 7 or 8 minute videos and redo it into a summary. Say, hey, here's what I've got. I've got a video that's going to show you this. This is why this is important. You should really opt in to get that. It's going to make a difference.
right.
Make a short video like that, and I bet you that will improve your conversions, or for that piece, your opt-ins.
Got it. Okay.
Because a lot of times, if somebody doesn't opt in, believe it or not, you're making a sale. An opt-in, whenever you're asking somebody to do something, that's a sale.
Yeah.
That's a transaction. Even if no money flows, it's still a transaction. And basically, what you're doing is you're offering something for a price. The price is them opting in. So if you have not provided enough value, then you're lopsided on the offer. If there's not enough value, they're not going to opt in. They're not going to buy.
Right.
So always look at every opt-in as a sale, whether there's any money transacted or not.
Got it.
You want to make the sale. So you've got to provide enough value to make a completely lopsided offer where they're going to be ridiculous for them not to take the offer.
Got it.
So I think if you look at your opt-ins that way, say, look, am I providing enough value to close this deal? And if you're not, that's probably going to answer your question of why your opt-ins are so low.
Got it.
Video's really good. Video causes higher opt-ins.
I have never had a problem with opt-ins before until it's on a Facebook campaign for some reason. Again, I was at 22. My worst form was at 16, 17%. Now all of a sudden I'm at 5%. So I don't know.
Yeah. So when you say you're running an opt-in on Facebook, are they actually opting in on Facebook?
No, they go to my landing page.
Okay.
They go to my landing page, and then I tell them what they're going to get in the free course, and then they fill out the form and they get stuff in the free course.
Okay. So you're basically getting them to come through, and then they're going to your landing page just like anyone else, and then you're basically selling them on the opt-in there, right?
Correct.
So why don't you try not pushing the opt-in so soon? Maybe give them a free video right there. Really build the value so you're creating more value before you ask for the order.
Got it.
Well, you're asking for an order, and if you have a low opt-in, all that says is you haven't provided enough value to make it lopsided yet.
Got it.
So give them something free, give them some value, and that's the best way to do that.
Got it. Cool. All right, John, you're the man. I really appreciate it.
All right, no problem. My pleasure. Yeah.
I'm going to hop off and actually get back to filming.
All right. That sounds like a great thing to do.
Yep. Take it easy.
See you, Travis. All right. Anybody else before we lock her up here?
No.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Hi. I just wanted to let you know I sent you an email hoping that you'll give me final approval on my irresistible offer.
Okay. I have not had a chance. With 4th yesterday, I was pretty wrapped up.
No, I'm just hoping to hear from you, hopefully by end of day today. I need to create my little webinar, and I want to make sure that you have given me your go-ahead on the way that you wrote it up. And then
All right.
I just want to check in with whatever Gregory, are you working on creating an image or something that he wants to use for a reveal? Because I don't know what you need, if you need anything from me to help create content for Gregory. So if you do, just let me know. I can send you stuff.
Yeah. So as soon as John has the video and it meets your approval, then I'm gonna send you the my business card image, and then that will be the connector, will be the business card image, and then I'll be using that to go around the tech conference to show them internet denominator using video as the presenting platform. So the idea is try to wow them with a two-prong attack.
Perfect. Okay. Well, so you and I, Gregor, are going to be talking about the actual front end artwork.
Ron has the video on his end done to your specifications.
All right.
Yeah, so I'll try and get that for you tomorrow, and yeah, I think I should have time to get that video kicked out tomorrow. Michelle, I'll try and get your offer looked at here today. I've got a block of time between like 2 and 4. I can probably get that kicked back
and
for
then
you.
I also sent the email to hopefully get that recording that had you and Sue and I, because you had mentioned some really great ideas for our advertisements.
Yeah, I actually loaded it into your Dropbox.
Oh, okay. Thank you. All right.
Just check your Dropbox. As soon as we were done, I fired it in there for you.
Perfecto. Thank you. Have a good one. Thanks so much.
In fact, it's called Michelle.mp4.
Okay. Awesome sauce.
Yeah, awesome. Cool stuff. So I will get that stuff kicked out for you. Anybody else? Any last minute before we wrap up here today?
But I want to say thank and appreciation now on that Monica Santana thing. It's like, whoa, that worked.
Yeah, no, that's a good opportunity for you. And I wanted to make sure I threw that out because that is that whole thing of creating characters. A lot of people overlook that. Sometimes you're not the one they're going to communicate with, or they're not going to really click with. And that's part of figuring out who your audience is. So, like for me, I have found that my audience really resonates with me personally. So if I try and put someone else in, I get a lot of resistance because they want me. And, and that's just, I don't know that that's an anomaly. There's some people that are just like that, but there's others that are not like that. And they would prefer to work with someone else. And, it's perfectly fine. You just have to understand your audience and what they want, what they need. So, like, I know a couple of the guys that you all know, I'm not going to name names, but they tried to get other people to replicate them and put them on stages to deliver their materials, and they had major fallout because the audience they weren't in tune with the new person that came through. And sometimes that's just the case. Sometimes you are the guy. It's got to be you. So nothing wrong though with trying to replicate yourself if you can pull it off. So, all right, well that is it. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. And if you guys have anything else, shoot me an email and I'll take care of it for you. All right, so have a great week, and we will talk to you next week.